man's Ramsey.
Ramsey, stay ready. Ramsey, don't get ready. I think Ramsey was our first ever listener. Like he was like Christopher Columbus. He stumbled upon ESPN 1320. Like, hey, who are these fellas? Let's hope it ends better. Let's hope it ends better.
A lot better.
Man.
A lot better.
Man. What's up, Ramsey? We see you, baby. We here, courtside. This is all new. You're not going to hear anything that you heard from 12 to 4.
Nothing.
It's a brand new show.
Let me tell you guys about what Joel Embiid's doing in his last 8 games.
Here come the men in black. Men in black. Galaxy. Y'all really have no idea. This stream dimes us out. Yes, indeed. Back like we never left. It's Courtside with D-Lo and KC. I'm Damian Barling. He is Kenny Caraway. We are live here on your radio.com app on ESPN 1320. We are live on twitch.tv/ESPN 1320. We're live on YouTube, on Twitter. We appreciate you so much for being with us. We appreciate you so much for allowing us to be a part of your Sacramento Kings coverage. Your 12-11 Sacramento Kings looking for their 5th straight victory tonight. But they'll be taking on the top team in the Eastern Conference and their MVP candidate, Joel Embiid. Of course, we're talking about the 17-7 Philadelphia 76ers, Kenny Caraway.
Woo-wee, Philly, where I am from, as Eve once said. This team is tough,
as
man.
Will Smith once said, in West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground.
That one too.
Most of my days.
That one too.
Yeah.
Man, this team is tough, man. This team is tough, and I know that I've, in my whole little GM style, I've messed around with this.
GM. You're an awful general manager.
Well, I mean, Daryl Morey was on the same hype as I was.
Dude,
to be honest with you,
I keep forgetting that he's there. I keep forgetting that Daryl Morey is in Philadelphia.
Daryl Morey is ready to sing. Who's that be talking about? That's all I'm going to say. But even with that being said, 17-7, number 1 record in the Eastern Conference. They have MVP candidate in Joel Embiid. Ben Simmons is probably going to be an all-star again. I mean, this is an extremely tough task tonight for the Sacramento Kings.
Joel Embiid is putting up monster numbers, and quite honestly, he's only one of the problems that the Sacramento Kings are going to have with the Philadelphia 76ers. Want to let you know you're going to hear from NBC Sports Kings insider James Ham coming up here in about 13 minutes or so. You'll hear our conversation with Keith. It's the second time.
It's the second time.
It's the second time, man. Yeah. It's not even a hard name. It's Keith Pompey. That's our guy. He's been on the show multiple times. He covers the Philadelphia 76ers for the Philadelphia Inquirer. He's going to be with us at the bottom of this hour. You'll hear from Luke Walton and his pregame talk with the media, and you'll also get Kenny's keys to a Kings victory.
Yes, sir.
You do not want to miss that. This Philadelphia 76ers team is tough. Not just Joel Embiid, but they're big. Ben Simmons is a big point guard. Dwight Howard is a big guy to back up Joel Embiid. Like, they have a lot of size that could cause problems for the Sacramento Kings tonight. And this is a team that I remember being at the game the last time the Kings beat the 76ers. The Sixers have won 3 straight, and it's been a while since the Kings were able to get a W. But KC, there's some concerns here. We had a nice 4-hour edition of D-Lo and KC. We talked a lot of Kings basketball. We talked a lot about this game. There's one thing we kind of glossed over, and that it's the fact what's really highlighted this stretch of basketball for the Sacramento Kings isn't their offense. Mm-hmm. It's not outrunning, or as we joked, it's not inbounding the ball really fast or taking the ball out of the rim and sprinting up the court. It's none of that. It's their defense.
Yes.
They've been getting it done on the defensive side of the ball. They went from a laughingstock. They went from, trying to compete as the worst defense in NBA history.
NBA history, man.
prior to that New York Knicks game where everything kind of shifted for them.
Yeah.
But they're going to be put to the test here today, Kenny, because, it's one thing. The Knicks, not exactly an offensive juggernaut. And the last time that they played, they were the worst offensive team in the league.
Yeah.
Orlando, not exactly an offensive juggernaut. Now, I'm not going to minimize every win that the Kings have had. Like, they were able to beat Boston, Denver, Los Angeles, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Philly's been putting up points, man. They put up 124, though that was against the Brooklyn Nets, who they're now trying to take the mantle from the former Sacramento Kings as the worst defense in NBA history.
Oh, they're succeeding.
They're doing a very good job of that. They put up 118, 119, 118 again. 107, 106 win over the Los Angeles Lakers. 114, 122, 117, 125, 137. This team has been putting up points this year.
I think it's 8th in the NBA in points, averaging 114 a night, and they're still getting it done on the defensive end. They're also top 10 on defense, averaging 110. This is a complete team. They shoot free throws well. They rebound well. There's not much that they do. The worst that you're going to get from them in the rankings is like 16th somewhere. I think they're 16th in field goal, 3-point percentage or something like that. Other than that, they're middle of the pack to top of the league in every statistical category, it seems like. And like you mentioned, they put up points. They score. If you're not ready to lock up and getting into a defensive stance and get physical with them on the defensive end, they will get points. Simple as that. So the Kings have to show that everything that's been going on in these last 8 games, these last 2 weeks, it's not just an admiration. It's not just, what we're doing it now. Now we don't have to get back and really work on it. No, you probably got to work as hard as you have in the entire run in what you want to do tonight against this Philadelphia 76ers team, because if you're sleeping, they'll shoot you out of the gym and they'll pound you into submission at the same time.
And they're rested. Right, their last game was 3 days ago, and
they got as much rest as you can get in this NBA season.
Right. Well, without a cancellation or a postponement, they've gotten as much rest as you can get. And we were looking at Joel Embiid's, like, he's load managing. Like Doc is doing that with him, and Keith Pompey addresses that. And again, you'll hear from him at the bottom of this hour. But it's something that Doc was aware of when he took over this team. He's like, we've got to manage Joel Embiid better. And there's always talk about, big guys and not just big guys in size, but he's a big center. Like, he's not built like, the new skinny version of Nikola Jokic. Like, he's a big dude.
He is a huge human being.
He's a physical presence. And he's one of those guys who, if you ever get the opportunity, I know this is hard to believe, but back in my day when I was younger, you used to be able to go to basketball games and see them in person. And
such a long time ago.
I know it's crazy. We're really dating ourselves here. We're really aging ourselves with this. But in that time, if you're able to go to the Golden One Center and do that bit where you get there early and go down to the floor, do it for the 76ers and see Joel Embiid in person. There's really only, outside of like LeBron and like that, but only 2 guys that I can really think of that you can't grasp their size until you see them in person. Joel Embiid is one of them. Giannis Antetokounmpo is another. Giannis Antetokounmpo's arms are one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in my entire life. Those are 2 players that you have to see in person, because Joel has a presence about him. He's that player who walks into a room, it's just not like, oh, there's a tall guy. It's like, oh, that's a massive man right there.
Hey, you look at that cat in person and you're like, what does anybody do with this guy?
Right.
Just on his sure size, right? But then you throw into the mix the fact that he has real skill out there on the basketball court. Like, he can shoot the ball, he can handle it a little bit, he has great footwork. You put all that together and it's like, all right, who at this size is moving like this cat and can do anything with him? And there's not much of anybody that can do anything with him.
Go get him, Metu. Go get him, buddy. He's all your. And we like, I don't know what the Kings' game plan is here. Like, they've had a very successful closing lineup in the in the fourth quarter. And I assume that'll continue to be the game plan. If the game is close, they'll continue to run with that lineup. We'll see. I think if Luke Walton could play Tyrese Halliburton 15 minutes in the fourth quarter, he'd find a way to do it, even though that doesn't make sense. I think he'd find a way to do it if he could.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you do with Joel?
I don't know. I don't know. This is not part of Kenny Skis because I don't know. I don't know what you do with Joel. I mean, you look at what he's done. I was reading some earlier, specifically in his last 8 games. He scored 25 or more in each of his last 8 games. That's the longest stretch from any Philadelphia 76er since Allen Iverson in the 2006 season. Mm-hmm. And listen to what he's doing over those 8 games, right? Like I know 25 plus, that's amazing in itself. Like he's killing in itself. If he got 26 points per game in 8 straight games, I'd be like, man, 26 points a game. He's killing it. No. Over these 8 games, he's averaging 35.3 points a night, 9.6 rebounds a night, shooting 57% from the field. And to top it all off, I love this, Damian. The big man is shooting 85% from the free throw line. Come on, man.
Their center,
come on now.
Their center shoots better than our point guard from the foul line, and it's so frustrating. It's so but here's the thing with De'Aaron, and it's not like De'Aaron doesn't know that he's got to improve his free throw shot. That's 6 points better than Joel's career average. Point I'm making. You can get better from the foul line.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing Joel do it. And does this kind of throw the Shaq narrative, my hands were too big to make a free throw? Does it appear that the young man actually worked on this and that's how he got better at it?
This is true. I mean, I don't have the measurements.
I can't shoot a free throw. What are you talking about?
Now, I will say this. Shaq holding the basketball looks a little different than Joel Embiid and anybody else I've ever seen. Shaq literally holds the ball like this.
Yeah, it's different.
Tries to put it up there.
It's a little bit different.
So it's a little different, but I mean, he's got great touch for a big man. People always talk about in the NBA, talk about unicorns, and I know that was a big thing with Kristaps Porzingis and all this other stuff. And Joel Embiid maybe isn't a unicorn per se because, people compare him to Shaq, compare him to Hakeem Olajuwon. But he's got unicorn tendencies. I don't remember a big man as dominant, as big, and as light on his feet as Joel Embiid.
Yeah,
I mean, and with the touch.
I was just about to say he's got that touch. He can shoot and give him one clean look at a 3. Dude is taking it.
Yes,
dude is absolutely taking it. Hell, give him 2, 3, 4 clean looks at a 3, and he'll take it.
But you know what the thing is with him this year? I feel like I could be wrong, but I feel like he's not relying on that. I felt like a lot of times in the last 2 years he would camp out outside the paint. Now he'll go into, as my man Hubie Brown likes to say, the painted area and go to work on you, and then he'll take a break himself for a couple of possessions and shoot that jump shot. But he'll get right back into the painted area again and go back to work on you. And
he doesn't fall in love with it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's dangerous when he's got that inside-outside working.
Oh, and good news, his backup is Dwight Howard. So, and hey, you can feel however you want to about Dwight Howard. His role with Philadelphia is a lot different than it was for Los Angeles. They don't need quite as much for him in Los Angeles. He is literally Joel's backup, and I think he's doing a fine job in that. But Dwight is another big physical presence that the Kings are going to have to deal with. And you've got Dave Yeager on the staff. You've got Seth Curry on the roster. There's some guys who know some tricks here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you mentioned it. It's the Dave Yeager revenge game.
Indeed, it is.
The comeback game for Dave Yeager and Seth Curry on top of that. King should have never let go of Seth Curry. Who was that? Was that Vladdy?
You really want to ruin? You really want to ruin the day? Like, we're having so much fun. We're on hour number 6 on the radio. Like, we really want to do this. And yes, you know exactly who it was.
I'm just saying because I can't remember which the failure of a GM got rid of a star guard. Was it Seth Curry, Isaiah Thomas? Was it Pete D'Alessandro, Vlade Divac? I'm losing track.
And that's a good point. I can't even say definitively that it was Vlade. I can't remember. I'm confident that it was. I think Seth went to Dallas, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did pretty well in Dallas. And isn't he related to Doc Rivers? Rivers' son-in-law?
Yep.
Is that right?
He's married to the doctor's daughter.
So there's, this, and we haven't even mentioned Shake Milton, who absolutely lit the Kings up last year.
Shake Milton reminds me of Flip from, not literally reminds me of Flip from Above the Rim, but it sounds like a name that would be in Above
Shake
the Rim.
Milton.
Shake Milton.
There you go. He's a playground legend. Shake Milton, the playground legend for sure. And oh, by the way, their second leading scorer, Tobias Harris.
I mean, come on now, aka J. Cole.
He
Cold
goes.
World.
He's not. I mean, he's getting it done. 20 points per game, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Like he's getting the job done. And you've got one of your favorite players in the league, Ben Simmons. Again, you mentioned it. He playing at an all-star level again with 13, 8, and 8. And it's the lineup, the matchups doesn't work. Hey, I'm sorry. Like I'm not gonna try to sell you a bill of goods. The matchup doesn't work. Like this is something that the Kings, Luke Walton, they've in Rex Kalamian and Alvin Gentry and Bobby Jackson and Lindsey Harding and the janitor at the Golden One Center, dude. Everybody, they need to chip in here and formulate a game plan for this lineup because again, the matchup does not work.
Yeah, they've got their work cut out for them, and that's before we didn't even mention what my man Tyrese Maxey is doing out there. And Tyrese Maxey, if we're being honest here, he's the reason why James Harden isn't on the Philadelphia 76ers. That was the one piece that Daryl Morey reportedly didn't want to let go of. He was ready to move on from Ben Simmons. Yeah. He was ready to move on from Thibault. But when Houston was asking for Maxey in the deal, he said no. Can't do that. That's where the buck stops. And this young rookie has had a couple of big games out there. So they're deep. They got ball players all throughout that roster, and the Kings are going to have their work cut out for them. But I'm going to tell you this, Damian. There isn't many, if any, teams in the NBA playing better basketball than your Sacramento Kings right now.
That's absolutely right. And we talked about difficult matchups. Guess what? The matchup against the Los Angeles Clippers, it was a bad one too.
Mm-hmm.
And the Kings were able to get the job
done. They don't care. No. They don't care right now.
No. And part of the reason is that closing lineup that they have out there is working so well. James Ham of NBC Sports wrote a fantastic column about that group. He joined us today on D-Lo and KC, and we asked him what is working so well with that closing unit.
starting lineup, move Buddy Hield to the bench, and capture lightning in a bottle. So while I don't think Luke has been perfect, and I'm not going to say that he's hit every single chord, I think what we're seeing right now is a team that is believing in their coach. They're still behind him. They think this is the right guy to lead them right now. If you watch that clip that the Sacramento Kings put out of Walton in the locker room, you could hear Buddy Hield chirping in the background saying facts, facts every time that Luke Walton spoke. If you've got Buddy Hield on board, you're doing something right, and people need to listen to that. If Buddy Hield is fully 100% bought in, you know that Walton is doing something right.
Yeah. You talk about trust right there, and I think that's an interesting word to use considering the lineup that we saw. I think with about the 7 or 8 minute mark, Kyle Guy was out there, Metu was out there, Glenn Robinson was out there, Corey Joseph was out there. You talk about trust, that's an incredible amount of trust in Tyrese Halliburton, but we are not seeing Marvin Bagley in the fourth quarter under any circumstances, it seems. What is the motivation? What is the reason behind that?
Well, in all honesty, if you look at the center position, Rashawn Holmes is a better center. And if you look at the power forward position, there are times during the game where Harrison Barnes is just a better fit. And look, Marvin is improved. His three-point shooting is improved. His rebound numbers are solid. He's hitting that corner three, which I think is huge. But teams still aren't going out and defending him on the corner three. They do defend Harrison Barnes. So I think there will come a breaking point where Marvin starts to match up and you start seeing him get some time in the fourth quarter. But, what we saw 2 games ago was Marvin was incredible. I think he was, 7 of 8. He had 17, 18 points going into the fourth, and then he never played again. And then you have the next game, he came out, and very specifically in the third quarter, he was just forcing everything. And you can see that Marvin wants it so bad, but sometimes you got to sit back and learn and watch and have patience. And you also have to do the biggest thing that I think this team is doing. You have to play for each other. You have to think for each other. You have to be supportive for each other. And I'm not saying that Marvin is not being supportive, but at this point, everyone has to buy in because this thing is going really well. You've won 7 out of 8. You're moving in the right direction. You should have won 8 out of 8 if you didn't get a little strange officiating in the Miami Heat game where they lost by 1 point. And so, look, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And sorry for Marvin, but, he'll find his time. There will be a time where Marvin plays major minutes.
Has he bought in? Do you think that he's bought in?
I think there are certain nights where he's bought in 100%, and his improvements defensively are absolutely shocking. I mean, basically the Kings had the 2 Memphis games get canceled, and in a 5-day stretch, they were able to fix almost all of their defensive issues and really just work through a lot of the problems that they're having. I think he has bought in, but at the same time, he has outside forces that are pulling for him to be more and to do more. And I'm happy for him because, look, we're 23 games into the regular season. Just so people know, Marvin Bagley's career longest stretch of games was 21 in his rookie season. He's played more consecutive games right now than he has at any point in his career. He just needs more experience, and you can't rush that. You just have to wait it out, and hopefully the light bulbs keep going off because as far as I've seen, they are. He is getting much, much better. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, James, and that's a great point because at the beginning of the season, I think a lot of people would have felt the same way. If we could just get Bagley staying healthy and get him, showing some type of growth out there, everything will be all right. He's not having a bad season. He's at 12 and 8 or something like that, and he's staying healthy. So that's a positive. I wanted to go from one guy that can't play in the fourth quarter right now to a guy that is dominating fourth quarters. And we all know who it is. It's the player of the week, De'Aaron Fox, a.k.a. the straw that stirs the drink. James, I loved De'Aaron Fox from the start. I knew he'd be a great player. I didn't think he'd be able to score the way he has scored at points this year. Is that surprising to you as well?
No, for me, I get what you're saying, but it's kind of like, I think the biggest eye-opener for me was last season when De'Aaron went straight up against John Morant, right? And what you saw was just how talented Morant is, but just how much further ahead Fox is in development and strength. And so I saw that it was like, okay, one guy has so much talent, but the other guy also has so much talent. And when you look at just what 2 years, 3 years in the league means for a player, I could see that he was ready to launch. If you really want like an exercise in craziness, go look at De'Aaron Fox's first 4 years in the league and Russell Westbrook's first 4 years in the league. They're almost identical. And so what I could see was that his potential, especially what we saw in the bubble, he averaged, 26.2 points per game in the bubble. Yeah. He's averaging 31 over his last 4 games. And it's almost 29 over his last 10. I mean, what he's been able to do is so impressive, and it really is predicated on him hitting the 3 ball. Once he hits the 3 ball and they've got to go up and over screens as opposed to just dodging underneath, now he has the ability to beat guys off the dribble, and he's getting wherever he wants on the court, which is beautiful to watch. It's a little Lou Williams-esque, the way he can get to almost any spot on the floor, but he's just got a lot more athleticism and such a bright future. It's crazy.
Hammer, when was the last time you saw the Kings play this well?
Man, I don't know. I got to be honest. They won 38 games under Jaeger, and I don't want to take any of that away. But the problem that even Jaeger would have told you during that season was that it was smoke and mirrors. It was them running and doing crazy stuff just to keep people, but they were not playing good basketball. They were just playing a frenetic pace and catching teams on the second night of back-to-backs and catching teams not aware that they inbounds the ball and have it, at the 3-point line in 2 seconds. So I think right now, it's fun to watch. I don't think they've won 7 out of 8 since the 06 season. Wow. 05-06. So it's something crazy like that. So it's very impressive what we're seeing here.
It's a joy to watch as well, man. It really is. And the last thing that we want to talk to you about is somebody that we talk about all the time, Tyrese Halliburton, and the fact that Luke Walton cannot keep him off the bench in the fourth quarter. I mean, or can't take him off the floor, in the fourth quarter. What was it that you were saying? He's played all 12 minutes of the fourth quarter 7 times, and they're 6-1 in those games?
Yeah, that wasn't until they won again. And he played the entire fourth quarter. Yeah, so on the season, he's played all 12 minutes. It's a total of 8 times, and they're 7-1. And I think they even have another game where he played 11 minutes and won. The dude just knows how to win. And his fourth quarter numbers are astronomical. Before last game, in the fourth quarter alone, he had a 26-7 assist-to-turnover ratio on the season.
Oh, goodness. Wow.
I mean, he's not making mistakes. He's playing passing lanes. He's active. His hands, he deflects so many balls. That's a stat that Jaeger used to center on, especially during the Garrett Temple era. Like, get deflections. It slows everyone down. It messes with the rhythm of the game. And you see him out there he reads the defense. He's fun to watch, and I think we're looking at a guy who very easily could be a multi-time All-Star. He's just that good, and he's that ready for the moment, which I think is the biggest surprise. It's just you very rarely see a rookie come in off the street, unpack their bag, step on the court, and he looks like a 10-year vet, and that's what we're seeing so far.
And if I remember the article correctly, the one loss was Miami, which was
one loss,
the 1-point loss. Wow.
That's crazy. Wow.
Unbelievable. Tremendous work as always, James. We appreciate you. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
James Ham, NBC Sports Insider. So you hear from Keith Pompey. We'll get the Kings ransom. We'll take a quick look around the National Basketball Association. You'll hear from Luke Walton, and we've got Kenny's keys to a Kings victory. That's all coming up. It's Courtside with Dealing with KC. Continues here on ESPN 1320. Oh man. Okay. Yeah. I think I got it. I didn't want to make that switch. Let me get so y'all on the stream. Let's do a quick test. Y'all got to help us out. All right, here we go. So now I'm gonna do this for reference. Right now, you can't hear
facts every time.
But can you
Luke
hear?
Spoke, If you've
I
got
already
Buddy
made the
Hield
switch.
on board,
Can y'all hear this?
you're doing something right. And
Can
people
y'all
need
give
to
us the
listen
thumbs
to that.
up if you hear it?
Buddy Hield is fully 100%
We can
bought
hear it.
in.
Okay. All right. I know what to do. I have to switch over and use the Bluetooth feed. That's what it is. Instead of the
USB.
yeah. That's my bad. That's me. That's my bad. I got it.
Turn over, Damien.
That's my bad. That's my bad. And I had a feeling what it was like right when I saw it, and I was like, wonder if I could switch this on the radio and it won't cut off. Like I actually want to check that to see if it'll make a clean switch. Let's get Ham playing here, and then make the switch. Nope, sure couldn't. Sure as hell glad I didn't do that. Oh wait, you know what? Hold on, let me try this again. I'm gonna try one more time. Hold on. All right, cut that off, and then make the switch. You talk about trust. That's an incredible amount of trust in Tyrese Halliburton.
We got action.
Wasn't
We got
bad.
action.
Okay,
We got action.
Well, I know now and won't make that mistake again. But should it ever come up, we got it. Hey, we learning together, man. We family. Okay, all right, Matt. Calm down, Matt. Hey, That's funny,
first
though.
of all y'all, you know what I'm saying, put some respect on me bringing Sean John out here.
I thought it was Fubu. I thought you brought Fubu out here.
Somebody said I brought Fubu. I didn't bring Fubu out here.
By us.
Hey, you know, I got to keep it a stack. I was the one getting the fully enclosed F. You know what I'm saying? Not the little space that. It was time just hard. Time just hard.
This is the second time that you've gotten the stream only.
Whose mess is this? I really need to know.
Time just hard over there in South Sac and Green Haven, baby. You know what I'm saying? I took it what I could get. But with Sean John, that was official. I was at Get a Clue getting that with Sean. Please believe. And I was the one wearing Timberland over here first.
Yes.
Nobody was rocking the wheat Tims and putting their pant leg in the Tim. Come on, man.
Still looking for Steph. Now Draymond's got it. What did he do that for? Draymond.
I don't know what he did that for. I don't know, man. Is that what I didn't even realize that what it's called? What did he do that for? Love it. Love it.
Oh man.
Love
That was
it,
a
love
bookie.
it,
That was what did he do that for? I'm over here watching these Knicks in the studio TV up on the Heat.
Rose.
Come on, man. D Rose, my boy Quickly. That boy Quickly bad.
That's a great basketball name. Quickly.
Manuel Quickly.
That is a great name. Like your name can't be Quickly and you're an offensive lineman.
No, it cannot be.
That doesn't.
It not could be. You better be a point guard that
you got to be able to go. Yeah. Not going to be able to go.
You know what? One of the worst things about I shouldn't say worst, but me just being like people talk about Damien. Maybe you did this. You walk through the house and there's like the doorway, and you like do a double pump dunk.
Oh my gosh!
Doorway, right?
All day.
You know, I bring that to the house. I do that. Well, one thing that happens in this house now, the queen bee's doing it, is we flop, right? So like we'll be trying to get past each other, but hey,
that's fun.
And I saw this. I saw them do that on the game, and it made me think about that. Like, I brought that to the house.
Flopping in the Caraway household. No surprise. No surprise. All these LaMelo Ball games they watch, and no surprise. Reese is going to grow up to be a flopper. They're going to be doing flopping drills at the Caraway house.
You got to yell, though. You got to yell. Hey!
Yeah, because that's how you get the foul call. Hey! That's how you get the foul call right there.
Oh, man.
Want to say hi to everybody while we're in commercial? Get up. Come on, you got to get up quick. We're running out of time. Oh, there she is.
I love friends.
Okay, hey, I got to do a show. Okay. We in here, baby, man. We're going all the way up until tip. Your Sacramento Kings looking for victory number 5.
Come on,
in
come
a
on.
row. Let's take a
that.
quick look around the National Basketball Association. My goodness, it is final in Detroit.
That's crazy, bro.
The Pistons put up 122 on the Brooklyn Nets. James Harden's 24. Oh, it's shame to see James Harden put up meaningless points and meaningless. It's just it feels familiar to me. I don't know why. But Jeremy Grant went for 32, 5 and 4, and arguably one of the worst teams in the NBA. Now 6-18. The Detroit Pistons beat the Brooklyn Nets 122-111. Derrick Rose getting acquainted with his new team. Sorry, partner. Go
I
ahead.
was just about to say, I'm looking at a little footage right here. Harden and DeAndre Jordan, not eye to eye in the huddle.
That is stunning. James Harden not seeing eye to eye with one of his teammates. I'm stunned. I don't know what to say about this.
I think it was much to do about nothing. I'm stirring the pot, but still, that was the line.
I wish I wish I would have seen something over the years that would have prepared me for that headline. The Knicks up 2 on the Miami Heat right now, 84-82, 8 minutes left in that one. They're headed to the 4th in New Orleans. Pelicans up 92-81 over the Houston Rockets. John Wall with 25 so far. The Warriors and the Spurs getting underway. Second night for them as Draymond Green gave us a spectacular ending to last night's game. Spurs up 2 right now on the Golden State Warriors, 48-46. We got the Celtics at the Jazz tonight. We've got the Magic at the Trailblazers. And then, of course, the game we are all here for, the Sacramento Kings hosting the top team in the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia 76ers. BetQL has got Philly favored by 5 with the over-under set at 232 right now, 232. Philly favored by 5. What do you think?
I gotta get used to this a little bit more, but the over-under at 2 whatever is always too much math for me to figure out.
Gotcha.
Where the
cut it in
the
half.
total is. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. But that -5 with Philly. Oh man, a couple of times we've talked about this, and I've taken the Kings when they've been underdogs, and I said, no, hop on them. They've covered for me. They've done the job. Oh man, if I had to choose tonight, I'm gonna go with the Kings, but I don't feel as confident as I have in the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I'm confident in is a big performance from Joel Embiid. That's not a knock on the Sacramento Kings or their improved defense. It's praise of Joel Embiid. We talked with Keith Pompey. He covers the Philadelphia 76ers for the Philadelphia Inquirer, and we asked him what's different about Joel this year.
Other than when they lost to Portland, I always felt like he was doing like he realized less is more. And what I mean by that is in the past, Joel would always try to win the game in the first half. Like you would see Joel with 20-something, 30 points in the first half, and he would wear himself out. This season, it seems like, he's getting more players involved, and he's picking his spots. And then when it comes down to, crunch time, that's when he takes over. It's not that he's slacking off, so to speak. I just feel like he's helping Tobias Harris get it going more. Seth Curry, Danny Green, guys like that. He's just been more well-rounded. Now, again, when they played Portland, it was one of those games where Joel felt like he had to take over the world, and he had like 30 points at the half, and then he only had 37 for the game. He wore himself out.
Do you think that's something that has kind of come with the growth and maturation of Joel Embiid, or is it something Doc Rivers has played an integral role in trying to get him to understand since he's over there now?
I think it's both, but I think it's more to the latter. Like with Doc, the first preseason game that they had, Doc Rivers told him, hey, look, I want you to try something out. I want you to get everybody the ball, share the ball, do whatever. And then at the end of the game, we'll see the results. Well, Joel did that, and he still ended up with more shots and way more points than everyone else. And he was like, wow, this is a whole lot easier. So, again, and then also I think Joel, let's face it, Joel's a guy who he's not going to play 72 games. He'll always miss anywhere from 15, 20 games a season. And he realizes the wear and tear on his body. as he gets older, he has to be more careful with it. But I believe Doc Rivers has more of an impact on what's going on than Joel.
That's a good segue, Keith, because I wanted to ask you about Doc Rivers and how much, are things noticeably different with the acquisition of Doc as the head coach versus Brent Brown in recent years?
It is. And as I say to it, and it's not a knock on Brett Brown, but Doc Rivers is doing more coaching where Brett Brown did a lot of managing. And Doc is a guy, he's playing people to their strengths. Like Joel Embiid, he's getting them the ball where he's more effective at. Last year Tobias Harris was more like in the corner in the Sixers system. Now it's like Tobias is getting more shots. A guy who you guys were talking about, Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons has some deficiencies, but then Ben Simmons is also a quality role player who could do a lot of different things. So that's what he does more so in this offense. Like, they don't even call him the point guard anymore. They call him a facilitator. So when you look at all those things, that's Doc Rivers. He's playing to the team's strengths, whereas last year I felt like the Sixers had they had a system that they no matter who the player was, hey, you go to the corner. I don't care if you can't shoot a three or not, but you're going to go to the corner. So I think it's more of Doc Rivers coaching.
Yeah. Speaking a little bit more about Ben Simmons, I personally have been a little critical of Ben Simmons, but it was never that I don't think that he can play. I just never thought he was that number two guy. Like, I thought it was a perfect setup when Jimmy was there to have Embiid, Jimmy taking over late if need be, and Ben Simmons facilitating, doing what he needed to do. With Jimmy not there, I was like, I don't know if that's the role for Ben to be that number two guy. But he's played well. He's had up and down moments, and I feel like the fan base and people have been up and down on him. But, 13-8-8 to go along with elite defense, not bad from Ben Simmons. What do you take from him so far in the first 20 or so games of the season?
I was about to ask you where you from Philly, because no one from Philly, everybody in Philly feel the same way. They're up and down on him. Ben Simmons is who he is, right? And I think that because, Ben Simmons got Rookie of the Year, because he has a max contract and everything, sometimes we put we want him to be more than what he is. You know what I mean? But he always tells us, no, this is who I am. Like, those numbers you said are right. That role that you said is correct. When you're looking for a guy and you look at Ben Simmons and you're saying, okay, Joel Embiid is down, I need you to step up. I need you to win this game for us. He's not that guy. He's still going to facilitate. That role, like you said, was Jimmy Butler, and now it's Tobias Harris. So, but what we try to do is we try to say, no, but Ben, you're Ben Simmons. You have to do more. Well, he's not going to do more. So, and when people realize that, hey, this guy benefited from the salary that is happening, he's benefiting from being the Rookie of the Year and all that other stuff. But when you look at it, he's more on the lines of a Draymond Green than he is on the lines of a Jimmy Butler or someone else like that. Now people get frustrated, but that's who he is. That's who he is, and that's who he's going to be.
And we realize you're busy covering the Philadelphia 76ers, Keith, and we're singing all of these praises about Joel and Doc and Ben Simmons and all, but is this team prepared for the juggernaut that is De'Aaron Fox? Like, De'Aaron Fox, if you want to get word to Doc Rivers, De'Aaron Fox in the fourth quarter has become a problem. And obviously I'm being a bit silly here, but he has had an incredible stretch here over the last couple of games, and he's had a particularly incredible run here in the fourth quarter. How does De'Aaron match up with the point guards on the Philadelphia 76ers?
He's better than the point guards in the Philadelphia 76ers. I think, Ben Simmons is kind of like a facilitator. And De'Aaron Fox, yes, I'm extremely familiar with him. I'm just going to give you guys this tidbit. The Sixers drafted Markelle Fultz first overall. De'Aaron Fox slid to the Kings. De'Aaron Fox worked out right before Markelle Fultz did with the Sixers. He blew the workout away. Markelle Fultz came in and struggled mightily, right? And we were all like, uh-oh, are they going to draft the right guy? Are they going to draft the right guy? So I'm very familiar with him. And you're right. When you look at the 76ers right now, a weakness that they have is a point guard who can create his own shot, right? And you look, or a guard. It doesn't have to be a point guard. You look at Terry Rozier. He gave the Sixers 35 points. Bradley Beal had 60 on him. And I know Bradley's a great player, but that's just the trend. Karis LeVert had 20, 10, and 9. It seems like if you're a guard and you can create your own shot, you're going to score a lot of points. I expect Fox to score a lot of points tonight. I also I just expect it to be a close game, and I think that he's going to have his way with the Sixers. Now, are they going to win? I don't know, but I think that he's going to have his way just by the type of player he is, and they have a hard time containing guys like that.
Do you think Ben Simmons, if the game is close and it gets into midway through the fourth quarter and it's close, that he goes on to guarding Fox, or is that a little? I want to know how do I put it? How small Ben Simmons will go? We know he's a versatile defender. Does he go down to point guards the size of De'Aaron Fox to guard them, or is that asking a little too much for him?
No, it's not. I mean, because it's funny. Like one of the guys who he has a lot of success with is Kyrie Irving. He, so yeah, that's not too much. Now, a lot of times what they try to do is, okay, I'll give you, like last game they played Brooklyn and James Harden. So they threw like a couple different guys at him, and then in the third quarter they said, okay, Ben, now it's your time to go after him. So I could see that happening where it's like they may start him off with someone else, like maybe a Danny Green on him to see what he can do, and then when Matisse Thybulle comes in, you get him, and then when the second half, it's kind of like, all right, Ben, it's your time to draw this guy. Yeah, gotcha. That's what they tend to do.
Gotcha.
Keith, we appreciate it. You mentioned Joel load managing. If he keeps it, well, you didn't use those words, but we kind of noticed it and pointed it out. But if he keeps this pace, both the way that he's playing and that load management, do you think he can win the MVP?
I don't, because I think when you look at it, well, like I'm just saying, if you continue load managing, what's going to happen is people are going to look at it, and I'm just throwing out LeBron James's name. Just if per player comes to mind, they say, wow, they played 72 games this year and LeBron played 68. Whereas you look at Joel, he may have played 52 and they played 72 or 55. Well, then people are going to say, well, let's give it to the guy who played the most games. And that's just how it is. We're talking about, people's opinion. So I think as long as they continue to do that, now, again, that's going to make the Sixers better for the playoffs. But I think as long as they continue to load manage him, I think that he's going to lose some votes in the eyes of people, especially with the Joker, in Denver playing well and other guys are playing well, and they're going to play more games than Joel.
Yeah. I mean, with De'Aaron Fox playing well, too, so he might not. I'm joking, Keith. I'm joking.
Keith, it's always a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay healthy. We appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for having me, fellas.
All right, we've heard from the people who covered the Philadelphia 76ers. We've heard from the people who covered the Sacramento Kings. KC, let's hear from the Sacramento Kings head coach, Luke Walton. He was asked, what's the biggest challenge that he's had about getting this team back on track?
Challenge you have is, when your team's losing games is, are the guys continuing to believe in what we're doing here, and our guys have continued to believe in it. It's easy to get behind when you're winning games, but I'll say it all the time that you fix things by working hard. You get better by working hard, by being consistent, by being selfless, and that that's what we're creating here. And it's good that we're having some success right now, so that we the players can see it working too. But yeah, just continue to trust and work hard as a group.
One thing I like about Luke is I criticize him sometimes for not being very emotional, particularly after games like against the Golden State Warriors, or the Toronto Raptors, or the Los Angeles Clippers. But when they win 7 of 8, he doesn't get too high either. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just his personality, and I think that's something that took a while for me to get used to, as you're used to coaches, even the most reserved coaches, they get animated in moments.
Yeah.
Luke doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just not his style.
I know it's cliche to get on Luke and talk about he doesn't know anything, but when you talk about like basketball, whether you like him or not, Luke done seen it all, and he's been at the feet of some of the greatest coaches to ever play. Lute Olson, Phil Jackson. Steve Kerr is going to be looked at as one of the great coaches of all time. And his dad, Bill Walton, somebody that he learned the game from. He's been around Kobe Bryant. He's seen it all. He's seen at the top level some of the things that you need to do and the way you need to approach the game to get to those levels. And I know it's not cliche or it's not, in vogue to understand that Luke has probably seen so much in the game of basketball, but he has, and he's seen it from the greats. Yeah. And that's where he's taking his notes from. So it doesn't surprise me that he's that type of way. It's refreshing, like you mentioned, and I like to hear it. It's just even kill. You always stay focused on the task at hand.
Yeah, and he was also asked about the team's confidence moving forward.
Team's in a good place. Well, we've gotten better from the start of the season till now. Players from an individual standpoint have gotten better. The team as a group has gotten better. But where we're at, we got a long way to go. There's a bunch of things we have to continue to work on and fix. Right now, we're giving up way too many offensive rebounds. We got our turnover numbers down finally the last couple of games, starting to foul a little too much. So, we got a long way to go as a group, but we're in a good place, as a team right now.
He keeps finding things that the team needs to do better, and he knows one of the things that they have to do better tonight is guard, and they've got to deal with Joel Embiid and the 76ers size.
Yeah, you're right. This Philly team is big, and they got Dwight coming off the bench, but also when you look at their guards and wings between Harris and Ben, like this is to me probably along with the Lakers, probably the two biggest teams in the NBA. So they are a great offensive rebounding team. Like I said, that's something we've been struggling with. So rebounding is going to be a huge key for tonight. With Jokic, we wanted to do the best job we could as far as not allowing him to get everyone else on his team going. I think Embiid is, he's having an MVP season as well. It feels like right now, every night we're going out, we're playing against an MVP type of candidate. And it's, I think it was important for our guys to see that, even though Jokic scored 50, we were still able to win as a team. Because, Embiid is going to be tough to stop. He's probably going to finish the night with a lot of points. What's important is that we keep battling as a group. We understand that's not on one person, that's on all five of the players on the court, and that, as a team, we're doing everything we can to, ultimately beat their team. Yeah, you're right. This Philly team is big.
Talking about, I could be wrong. Did he say there's a key? A key?
Hey,
dealing with the Philadelphia 76ers tonight? I don't know about Luke Walton's keys, but I know about Kenny's keys. Kenny's keys to a Kings victory. KC, tell us.
Let's go.
How can the Sacramento Kings win their sixth straight game?
Well, I got a couple things for you here, Damien, and we're going to start at the top. And Coach Luke Walton just mentioned a little bit. Joel Embiid's going to do what he do. He's going to get his points. But one thing that they have to do is they have to make sure they stay on the floor, Damien. And what I mean by that is don't let JoJo get Holmes, get Whiteside, get Bagley, hell, even get Metsu in foul trouble. And we talked about he shoots 85% from the free throw line, so that's an automatic bucket when he gets there. Don't get in foul trouble. Don't send him to the line. All I want to see out of this one, usually I have numbers and all this other stuff for the metrics that you want to meet. I just don't want to see any of those bigs foul out. I don't want to see that. All right. You don't want to give him easy buckets at the foul line. Stay in between him and the basket and challenge the shot, but don't hack. Don't get any cheap fouls. Number two, I want the Kings to defend the three ball. All right. Defend that 3-point shot. Do not let the Sixers get comfortable out there. If you're doubling Joel, which I think they will double him from time to time and give him different looks, Don't leave wide open looks for these guys at three. If you leave somebody wide open, hell, double off of Ben Simmons. Now, Ben Simmons does a good job of crashing when your guy doubles, so he makes it hard. But these other guys, the Seth Currys, the Tobias Harris, the Shake Miltons, don't give them open looks and let them feel good as the game goes along. Defend that three ball. I want to see the Kings hold the Sixers to below their season average of 36% from the three-point line. Make it tough on them, no good looks. Last but not least, we heard Keith Pompey talk about it, and I'm looking for it. I want Fox to show out, and I want Buddy Hield to show out. Like I mentioned, the Sixers don't do well with guards, and they have an elite perimeter defender in Ben Simmons, but he's only one guy. You've got two guys, and if I throw Halliburton in there, you got three guys. I'm going to focus specifically on Fox and Buddy. I want 25 apiece from Fox and Buddy tonight. The guard combination that we grew to love, they show up and show out tonight. Let's go, baby.
Okay, run through them one more time.
Stay on the floor.
Yep.
I don't want nobody fouling out. All right. Number 2, defend the three ball. Hold the Sixers below their 36% three-point field goal percentage on the season. Get them below that. And I want 25 apiece from Fox, at least 25 apiece from Fox and from Buddy Hield. Show up and show out tonight, baby. Let's do work, Kings. Let's do work.
Okay. And give me 12 minutes of Tyrese Halliburton in the fourth quarter, because the numbers say when he plays 12 minutes in the fourth quarter, they are going to win no matter what happens tonight. We'll recap all of it beginning at noon tomorrow. Make sure you're following us so you can watch the show on twitch.tv/ESPN 1320. Search us out on YouTube as well. ESPN 1320, of course, on Twitter. You guessed it, at ESPN 1320, and we will have you covered tomorrow at noon. We appreciate you so much for being with us. It seems like a big mountain to climb, man, but I want to see the Kings get 5 in a row.
Let's
There's
go.
something about that number 5, man. I want to see it. And let's hope maybe the Philadelphia 76ers are a little bit rusty. Maybe they're not ready for this road trip that they're on.
Jump on them boys.
Maybe the Sacramento Kings just out playing. But again, either way, we'll recap it all tomorrow at noon. We appreciate you for being with us here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
Let's go, Kings.
Woo.
Yeah.
Look, 2 shots in the air. All right, I know y'all want to go watch Kings basketball, man. So
We'll be back here for the vibes. Win or lose. Win or lose. I'm back here for the vibes. So y'all check me out. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So make sure you're locked in. Twitch, YouTube, all that good stuff. KC will have you covered for them post-game vibes, and hopefully I'll be asleep, because that's just the rule. I plan to go to sleep as soon as the buzzer goes off. And I'm not talking about Kenny's buzzer. I'm talking about the buzzer of the game. I won't be asleep unless they win. Then my ass will be wide awake.
If the Kings win, unlimited air horns.
There it is. You heard it. We appreciate y'all, man. Thank you for all the support here on these channels, and we'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you tonight. Yeah, we'll see you tonight. Post-game vibes.
Yes, indeed. Y'all take care.